Time they'll get to hear from me. I've been really busy, but I had to comment on what happened to Donald Trump the other day. I was a little preoccupied in saying anything because I have a bit of a life. I volunteer for a no kill animal shelter. I was busy with that yesterday. But I wanted to give some of my thoughts, and I'm really asking God to help me because I'm also dealing with something else, and I'll go into that too. I want to give my thoughts on what happened here at Mar-A-Lago. And I don't care if anybody agrees with me or not. I think the FBI did something major league stupid. I think that the FBI is under the direction of Biden and his leftist flying monkeys, and they did this. I believe the FBI, and this has been something for decades, I should say, in one way or another, the FBI, the Department of Justice, has been used as a weapon by presidential administrations, regardless of party. Don't believe me? Look it up. You look at what happened during the Kennedy era, and in that case, it was somebody who had some screws loose, mind you. I want to read something. Anybody here get Smart News? I'm just wondering. It's a really cool app. I get stuff from every side, so to speak, on this app. And I was reading something in particular concerning the DOJ. And it was pretty interesting. I should say, it was something from the Five. I don't know if any of you watch, it's on Fox News. It's really cool. It's very awesome commentary. And if I can find it here, the Daily Beast, I have some issues with these guys. The title of this is Fox News Bizarre Reply to Trump Raid Judges Death Threats. Okay, first off, I want to make something clear here because according to this, they're saying that this judge that's involved in this, he's getting death threats, and I feel bad he's getting them. I think no judge, regardless of what political party you're aligned with, deserves any death threats. Let me make that clear. I'm a Republican, and I'm a born-again Christian, and I'm going to say that right now. Now, they're claiming that the hosts of this show were dismissive of reports of threats that were made against the federal judge. Now, I watched it, and from my perspective, they weren't dismissive. Pardon me. They were far from dismissive. Their whole premise on this is, well, guess what? Republican, conservative judges are getting threatened. The Supreme Court justices are getting threatened. So it's like what's good for the goose is good for the gander. And I agree with that. Like I said before, I preface this again. I don't think any judge, regardless of their political party, should be threatened. But when you have a situation like this, and you have somebody, and I'm telling you right now, this is happening, when you've got somebody who is using their position of authority to undermine, and I do mean undermine, proper everything within the justice system, you've got a problem. I'm according to Jesse Waters, yes, and this is factual. I don't know where in the world the Daily Beast is getting otherwise, but Jesse Waters does a pretty good job of digging things up and found that this guy's got connections to Obama and did donate to Jeb Bush. Now, I hate to, with all due respect to the late George H.W., that's a deep states. Jeb is deep state swamp rat, as far as I'm concerned. Deep state swamp rat. I don't care what anybody says. He's deep state swamp rat. Hey, I'm also connecting on Facebook Live here, praying this works. But bottom line here, and I'm going to say this, no judge should be threatened, regardless of political party. Hey, guys, on Restore Honor and Integrity to Ben Salem on Facebook Live, I'm talking about this recent thing that happened in Mar-A-Lago, and I'm going to say this right now, regardless of your political party, you need to be very afraid of this. You need to be extremely afraid of this, because what's being done here, and I said this just a few minutes ago, and I'm going to say it again, what is being done here is the DOJ and the FBI are being weaponized by the Biden administration. And any party can do this. When you have the Department of Justice and the FBI, law enforcement agencies, being weaponized against people who disagree with something that's going on, you've got a problem. And that's with any party. But right now, let's start with the Biden administration and what they're doing. Because what they're doing is outright wrong. And it's interesting that this happened. It's interesting that this happened after Trump went to New York with whatever case was going on there and wisely pled the fifth. He didn't have anything to hide. The reason why he pled the fifth was, this is his way of saying, I don't trust any one of you. I don't trust any one of you at all. So I'm pleading the fifth because I don't trust you, and I don't blame him. But I want to read this article, if I can. Basically, in this article, they were speaking on how this whole thing took place and that they're making these bizarre claims. But they're not bizarre. They're far from bizarre. They're real. Now, whoever these right-wing extremists are that are threatening this judge, I hope somebody knocks on their door soon. Now, if these are real threats, I hope somebody knocks on their door and puts them in jail. They're posting, and they're doing this, and I want to make this clear. This is going on not just with this liberal judge, but this is going on with the Supreme Court justices. They've doxxed them. They're protesting out in front of their homes. Somebody has already tried to kill Kavanaugh, just so people know. This goes both ways. You can't be crying out and condemning one and treat the other like, oh, they deserve it. It's very interesting here because Jessica Tarlov, she noted these threats, some of which, according to this, were anti-Semitic. The subject was immediately changed to threats against the Supreme Court justices. Rightly so. What's good for the goose is good for the gander. You're going to threaten the Supreme Court justices. Well, guess what? Sorry this is happening to you, Judge, but guess what? You brought this. Look at what's going on with the Supreme Court justices. You're not going to get any sympathy here. And it's interesting because Judge Janine stated, hey, so have the Supreme Court justices because of the whole thing with Roe v. Wade. And I've shared my thoughts on that. And Tarlov, was like, I'm shocked. I'm sorry. Some of these left of center, these liberal hosts they have on there, some are okay. Jessica's okay. There's Ford. He's pretty cool. Geraldo, I want to choke sometimes, not literally. But she says here, all I hear about at this table, by the way, is that it's only the Democrats that are crazy, unhinged, violent types. Well, guess what? The Democrats are, from my perspective, the only ones. There are very, very few, probably in both parties, that are unhinged. And yes, okay, I feel bad this judge has to go in and his family have to go into hiding. I feel bad about that. Nobody should be threatened. I said that before. On both sides of the aisle here, nobody should be threatened. But this guy, these people have every right to protest, to say something about this. As long as you're not making any illegal threats, they've got a right to say something. You look at what's going on with the Supreme Court justices, and this guy, in many ways, this guy's got it easy almost. I hate to say it, because nobody's tried to actually kill him yet, and I hope nobody does. And I love Gutfeld. Gutfeld's awesome. He has his own show on Fox at 11 at night. He says, I think that as legitimate as those threats might be, you are seeing the pivot from, it's not about the raid, it's about pouncing on the pouncing of the right, Gutfeld says. This always happens when something like this happens. The right is now pouncing. That's their way of pivoting away from the actual injustice. And the left is known for doing that. Now they're crying out, look, our judge, our person is being attacked by the evil right. Okay, I want to make this clear, okay? Not every Republican is this way. There are some screwballs out there, and I voted for Trump in 2020. I didn't in 2016 because I thought he was a phony. But when I saw him in action here during these 4 years, I was impressed. He set my husband free from Obamacare, and we had a very well done economy. We had a very good economy. COVID came and things started happening. He still tried to keep things going. But you know what? When this whole thing with the election hit, there were shady things that went on. And I'm not going to back off of that. You can think whatever you want. We have a right to believe what we believe. And there's evidence on this. And I think that these documents that Trump took, first off, he has a right to declassify anything he wants. And I believe that he was taking declassified documents. But I believe this stuff is proving that something shady did happen during the 2020 elections. There's a lot of things going on here that we don't know about. Now, I'm not into QAnon and all that garbage because I think QAnon is satanic. I'm going to say that right now. But I just also saw something here I want to share. Hope I can find it here. This is also on Smart News. And this is the key thing here I wanted to discuss. Okay, we want to see the search warrant. Okay, we'd like to see this search warrant because this search warrant wasn't given, a copy of it wasn't given to his attorneys. And also his attorneys are also very upset that they weren't allowed in the rooms with these agents to make sure that they weren't doing anything shady. Think about that. Think about that. And I hope that Trump right now will release will release the search warrant. I'm hoping he has it. Because if he releases it, it will back his case. I know that everybody is, and I'm seeing this right now, everybody and within the Republican Party, and this is what's interesting. The Republican Party is now become united. And the reason why they've become united is because they believe this. If they can do this to a former president who is deemed a threat, I've heard them call him an existential threat and all this other crap. But if they can do this to a sitting president that they hate Trump's guts. If they could do this to a former president, that they just loathe. Think of what they'll do to you and me. Anybody that disagrees. And this goes with both whichever party's in control. Right now we have this leftist socialist Democrat party in control. And yes, I'm calling them leftist and socialist. And I praise God right now. So we are still a nation that is a democratic republic. And I'll tell you right now, there's going to be something interesting going on in November, and the Democrats aren't going to like it. I'm glad that all of Trump's allies, even Republicans, I think, who don't agree with Trump, they're demanding to see this search warrant. I see here, allies of the former president are urging the Justice Department to release more information about the search and have questioned why officials have not made a formal statement about it. And I firmly agree. I hope that Trump decides to release this. If you're watching this, Mr. President Trump, release it. Because there's, according to a reporter from on Real America's Voice, Trump attorney Christina Bobb said the FBI did not let her have the warrant right away, but that they did let her see it. That's really shady. That's extremely shady. She says here, she alleges that the FBI had only a thin justification for the search. She said that they had been searching for, quote unquote, for classified documents that they think should not have been removed from the White House and items they believe were wrongly removed under the Presidential Records Act. That's ridiculous. From what I know of, Trump has been cooperating every step of the way. And this was something else that Jessica tried to say, that Trump hasn't been cooperating with this whole thing out of New York. Janine shut her down and said, he's been cooperating. He's been cooperating. He's been cooperating. And Jessica's the typical, I hate to say this, leftist shill. And I'll tell you right now, it's, according to this, it's standard practice to provide a copy of a warrant to a subject before a search was conducted. That's even more shady. And they get an inventory. It says also the subject would get an inventory afterwards describing what was taken. I mean, this is getting really weird to me. There's something about this that just rubs me the wrong way, because this only says to me they're going after Trump because they hate him. They're going after Trump because he's a threat to them. He's a threat to their leftism. And I'll tell you right now, again, I say this again, they are weaponizing these areas of law enforcement against someone, because that someone states their mind, states things that they don't agree with. And this is not the solution to deal with somebody that you disagree with. You don't sick the law on them when they disagree with you. And my husband was saying something very interesting today, that if they can do this to a former president, they could do this to you and me. Something to think about. Something very serious to think about. And I don't know about any of you, but I'm praying right now that this is properly resolved. I really am. I think this is really a mess. And I hope that Trump releases the search warrant to back up what he's saying on this. And this is interesting too. Christopher Wray, as far as I'm concerned, a traitor. Now, I'm saying this, don't anybody try to go out and do anything stupid on him. I know he was appointed by Trump, but he's part of this whole deep state fiasco. But there's something very shady about this. There's something very shady about this, and somebody needs to investigate this and investigate it properly, and not pull this biased garbage against a former president. I mean, even here on Just the News, and this is a pretty interesting conservative, it's not extreme, it's right, really good. It says here, the Department of Justice must respond to a motion from Judicial Watch. This is a conservative group. They're a conservative legal group, if memory serves. They're seeking to unseal the warrant the FBI obtained to raid former President Trump's Mar-A-Lago estate. A magistrate ruled on Wednesday. So guess what? The judge who issued it, Reinhardt, who also approved this warrant, he issued the order saying, okay, unseal this. So I hope they do, because this is very important. And this judge, Reinhardt, I hope he'll be okay. I pray he'll be okay. But he's going to face a lot of backlash on this because of his ties to Obama and who knows who else. And I love these stupid comments. I love these stupid comments. Seriously. These comments are like, holy crud, you know. And I'm even seeing something from what they call young conservatives. I don't know. This really, it disturbs me, bottom line, people. It really does. And I just wanted to share my 2 cents with you on that. You guys have a good day, okay? I'll talk to you later. I'm going to delete it. Just keep yourself safe, okay? And learn to be able to think for yourself. And I highly suggest that you really be on the lookout. But most of all, look up, because our redemption is drawing nigh. You have a good one.